Order. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We all know where.
We have item 2C, preview and approval of agenda. I accept the motion for that, please.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. And we'll move on to the consent agenda. I would accept the motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We will move on to delegations. Do we have any audience delegations, Susan? No. Okay, thank you. Old business? None. New business, partner organization, the Harrisonville Public School Foundation.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Alice Roach with the Harrisonville Public School Foundation. So thank you all this evening for allowing us to come and share an update about the foundation's programming with you and the impact that we've had in the district. For something different tonight, we're framing our discussion using a graphic. So you'll see the graphic up here on the screen, and then hopefully it'll also load on your computers if you just click it. We'll move around from clockwise from the upper left-hand corner and really share about how these visuals have a story behind them and what the foundation does. So in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that there are a few seniors pictured there. Those are a few of our Excellence in Academics recipients. Those are four-year recipients, so they rank in the top 15% of their class all 4 years of their high school careers. Those students who do reach that four-year Excellence in Academics benchmark, they do receive a $500 scholarship from the foundation that they can use to defray higher education expenses. We've been doing this program, offering these scholarships since 2006, and we presented more than $196,000 in scholarships to students as part of that Excellence in Academics program. The next image that you see is the inductees for the 2023 Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame. Those 3 inductees joined 57 other inductees. So all time, since 2004, we've honored 60 alumni in that Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame. I will say that we are always looking for nominations of outstanding graduates from Harrisonville. So if you know of an outstanding graduate, nominations are due on November 15th, and all the nomination information is provided on our website. So we welcome and encourage those nominations. We have a good pool of candidates from which to choose this next year. The next image here is Mrs. Freeze. She was awarded the Educator of the Year Award for 2023. So we got that award in May of this year. She received a $500 grant from the foundation to use in her classroom. And we also recognized her at the homecoming parade just a couple weeks ago. So you may have seen her in a car that was sponsored by the foundation. So
fun.
yeah, if you haven't expressed your congratulations to her, please do that. We were happy to award her that honor for 2023. The next image that you see is a student here in the pink sweatshirt. This student is using technology that was funded by one of our teacher grants. Teacher grants provide as much as $1,000 per request to teachers who want to try out some sort of new educational approach that the district doesn't currently fund. So again, we prioritize those novel or innovative projects, and in this case, these are anatomy and physiology students who are learning about EKGs and heart cycles, so they can actually take an EKG of their own heart due to the technology that the foundation funded. So teacher grants are one of the foundation's long-standing programs. It started in 2004, and we've awarded $134,000 in teacher grants during that time. We are accepting applications for this fall, so teachers have until October 24th to submit their applications. The foundation will then review them, and we'll make funding announcements in November. It's a surprise squad style that we follow, so teachers will see foundation representatives pop into their classrooms and make the announcements the big checks, everyone gets excited whenever we're able to do that. So it's a 2-time-a-year process. So like I said, November will be when we make those fall announcements. The next image here is for our Advanced Degree Teacher Initiative. Through this initiative, we provide partial tuition reimbursement for teachers and support staff who are seeking advanced degrees in non-administrative fields. It's a $50 cost offset per credit hour for as many as 6 credit hours per session, 3 sessions a year, fall, spring, and summer. So since 2008, the foundation has dispersed more than $43,000 to support teachers seeking higher degrees. This year, we did add a new element to our Advanced Degree Teacher Initiative, which is what's pictured here up on the screen. These are teachers who had participated in receiving those partial tuition offsets and then received their degrees. And so we provide them with diploma frames where they can display their new diplomas proudly in their classrooms or wherever they choose. The Leaving a Legacy grants are represented by the image that you see there on the bottom of the screen. Like I mentioned earlier, seniors who are those 4-year Excellence in Academics recipients receive $500 that they can use to defer their own higher education expenses. They also have the opportunity to then choose an influential Harrisonville Schools program, so the one that was influential in their academic experience, and then that influential program receives a $250 mini grant from the foundation. This is the Bill Mills Leaving a Legacy program that started in 2020, and we've dispersed $18,000 since then. The pictured image here are some students who traveled to New York as part of a DECA trip. Isaiah Bliss was a recent graduate who directed his mini grant to DECA. It just so happens that these students are in New York on a set that had Friends TV show memorabilia, and that's one of Isaiah's favorite TV shows. So a nice pairing there between the mini grant and the experience that it provided to some students. The last 2 images that you see here on the left side, these are results of some of our district grants. We work with building and district administrators to identify priorities where the foundation can collaborate and provide at least a cost share on some of these items that the district views as important. So the image that you see here in the lower left-hand corner, these are high school students using new graphing calculators. The old graphing calculators were about 10 years old and they were failing, and so the foundation provided about $6,000 to upgrade those graphing calculators, which are now available to HHS mathematics students. And then the last image that you see here, we recently partnered with the district to provide a $20,000 award for playground equipment at the elementary schools. So our youngest in the district have a better play experience while they're outside at recess. So again, that was a $20,000 investment. In total, our district grant giving since 2017 totals about $100,000. So we did pass around a 1-pager, which is our annual report for this past year, so it was in 2023. Please feel free to peruse that. It includes some additional information that we didn't cover this evening. So I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has anything they'd like to ask.
Well, I just have a statement, not a question. I think you all do a fantastic job for our district, and we are so appreciative. So many wonderful opportunities that are given.
I would also like to second that as a newcomer to our district, to know the thoughtfulness and planning that our people that have come before us to get this going, and then just having a few meetings with Alice as our president. She is absolutely amazing. She has all of her heart and kids and teachers of our district. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
All right.
6B, superintendent update.
Well, we're going to go ahead and start. Ms. Tyler, would you like to start with your once great, because we have some guests that are going to be sharing with us, and I would also like to draw your attention to your desk by your computer. There are a few questions that are there that might also support our guests.
So we're gonna let Mrs. Wilson and her friends go first. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay. So I'll leave it to you.
Okay.
Okay, all right. You guys want to come on up?
Dr. Falke, do you want to introduce our guests and then we can go that way?
I would love to. So this is Mrs. Wilson with a couple of her life skills students. So we have Bentley and Cadence. Can you say hi, guys? So Mrs. Wilson's gonna talk about something really cool that she and the kiddos have been doing over the last couple weeks.
So we've started out with our unit this September talking about following rules.
Come over by the
It won't pick it up if you don't.
Okay, that's okay. So we started out our unit in September talking about following rules. So we wanted to not only practice following rules in our classroom, but out in the community. And one of the activities we thought about was going out to our Giving Grove, which is right out in front of the elementary, and we had a plethora of fruit. So we talked about safety rules, we talked about how to be safe when we're out in the community, out away from our classroom and those areas. And then we thought we would do something fun with all of the fruit that we had the chance to pick while we were out there practicing following rules and talking about those things. So we decided to turn that into a life skills unit, and we made apple butter. And we also made pear honey, because if you don't know, we have both apple and pear trees. So the kids did a fantastic job. We had a teacher loan us her Pampered Chef course. So you just put it was very adaptive for the students' needs. So we were able to just attach it, and they turned the wheel, and it peeled and spiraled. And then they did all of the measuring, and we stewed it and cooked it in a crock pot, and then mashed it up with our immersion blender. And so we had a lot of fun. It was a really great task to kind of find those life skills and that real world learning with a unit on following rules to kind of just get us kicked off in the right way. And we really had a great time. It was a lot of fun. We have a gift. So one of the things that we did as a part of this project is trying to introduce students to the writing process and being able to work collaboratively with their peers as they write their sentences, working on punctuation and grammar, and then also introducing that review process. So they work collaboratively as they worked on the story. So what you see is what the students wrote.
Thank you, young lady. Thank
Talking
you.
about their experience making apple butter. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to see So, Ashley's gonna share. How are you doing, buddy? And then.
Thanks, buddy. Oh, thank you.
I know, right here. Right here. Oh, that'll take them all. So it was really, we had a lot of fun. It was great trying to find ways to start the learning process off for this year. It was great to start the learning process off for this year, and to be able to get learning started in a fun and creative way that included the Giving Grove, and just made more connections, kind of making that content a lot more sticky. So it was great. We have some questions, I think. They might have questions.
Can we ask you a question?
This is Cadence, yes.
Cadence, can you tell me, how did you make the apple butter?
Are you ready?
We've been practicing this. How did you make it?
We picked apples, and then we cut apples. Cut and then the apples. Right. And then we cooked the apples. Yeah, good job. And then we ate. Yeah, that's good job. Yes.
And family members, we sure do appreciate
Yes.
and supporting what we do here in Harrisonville, and we appreciate you sharing your wonderful, wonderful family with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much.
Good job.
Yes, wow. You know, you did a great job of sharing some great things.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'll move on, even though it's not gonna be, I'm not gonna be able to follow it. But, we have two more things we'd like to share for what's great today. And of course, I think I shared this last year too, but homecoming is a huge event in our community. And I think it just exemplifies what being a part of the Wildcat family in our community is all about with all the events. So I just have a few pictures here, but, at HES, one of our candidates happened to be an A+ tutor, and her whole class made signs. So I thought that was pretty cute. Of course, the kindergartners made signs to hold on during the parade and the sidewalk. And then the middle school had a pep rally for the first time in a very long time to kick off the day. And then the high school, of course, had a pep rally too. But just all of that it involves the parade, the candidate parade at the schools where they get to see their siblings or their old teachers. It's just all about Wildcat family and what this community is all about. So I love sharing that each year and the pictures of that. And then the second thing is welcoming our families and our community into our schools. We've been really working hard on trying to welcome people back into our schools. You know, COVID, we shut them out. You know, we were forced to keep people out. And so we're trying to really work on having events that bring people in. So this morning, we had our first donuts with the directors at Casper Center and had a good crowd there for that. Last week, HMS had Grandparents' Day breakfast where they had Chris Cakes. He's really concentrating on catching that pancake. You can see it in the air flying down to him. And then right before Labor Day, McEwen had their classroom picnic and showcase. So I think those were all great events to welcome people back into our schools and to have them see what's going on every day in our schools. So those were.
Just remember, the Chris Cakes were not Chris Grantham cakes.
No.
They did offer me a job.
They did offer him a job. He would do a great job.
And then, of course, I borrowed some pictures off Mrs. Wilson's page of them working on their apples. So I got a few pictures of the kids doing that.
Thank you.
Appreciate
that. I want to just reiterate how appreciative our district is of your support for our calendar changes for this year, giving us 2 or 3 days a semester that allows us to focus fully on professional learning for our staff and teachers and all of us in our district to be able to focus on what's best for our kids and how we're doing what we're doing. And yesterday was our first day that we had a full day of professional learning with our staff. We had all of our elementary staff at HES and our middle and high school at the high school. And it was a day focused on one thing, and that one thing is what do our students need to know. It was just reflecting back on what exactly do our students need to know, and that really translates back into the standards that the state asks us to teach. And so I've said to you guys before when we talked about when people say, well, are you teaching all of those crazy things that I hear on the news? No, we teach what the state tells us to teach, and those are the standards. And we gave quite a bit of focus to priority standards, which is kind of a drilling down of standards. For instance, there's 150 or 60 ELA standards in 5th grade. There's no way that you can cover all of those. We can have an introduction to them or just kind of an overview, but we have to focus in if we're going to do the right work. We have to determine what are the most important important for our students. And those are the priority standards that the state has helped us with. And so that's what we did yesterday. So again, a big thank you for allowing us to do that. It's very, very successful. And Annie Knox and her team really led us through a great day of professional learning. Also, I'm going to be putting our attendance under the superintendent's update. And that enrollment, I have that for you guys. And what I'd like to do is I'd like for us as a board to have a better idea of what that enrollment looks like throughout the school year and have that as compared to the previous school years. Because we know that enrollment is one of those areas that we are continuing to look at. How is it going up or down, and how can we see our impact in that? If you look at our September total count, we're at 2139 as compared to last year. That September time was 2154. So it is not a major shift from the previous year. Again, it has continued to go down, but not as much as it has in the previous years. Now you can look at our high school. Our high school, and talking to Mr. Rorvig, is about as big as it's been for a while. And so our numbers are up quite a bit in the high school because those bigger classes are coming from the middle school and up. But with that, we graduated 187 students last year, and right now in 12th grade we have 197. So just for comparison, but this is a great way. We can see that down there in our youngest grades, those 130, 140 student classes are the ones that once they start moving up, we hope that there's some bigger numbers coming in their place in the next couple of years. Hopefully this is a better way for us to take a look at that and keep track of our enrollment. The other thing I want to share with the board, we'll send it out one more time, but I know that we have a regional MSBA meeting in Belton on October 4th. And it's at the Belton High School from 6 to 8:30. Any of you that would like to join me, what we could do is we could get our van, and if it's available, we can ride up together. Might be an easier way for us to do that. So Susan will be sending that out, and I'd love to have you guys represented at that region 4 meeting.
Sure. And what is the cutoff date to let me know that? It's October 4th.
Fairly soon.
Fairly soon. Yep.
I'm assuming that's 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
It will not be that entire time, but they will have.
Part of the
It's yeah, but they will do dinner.
Yeah.
At the beginning. Yeah. And then moving on down to the strategic plan update, I want to let you know that during our winter retreat, we will have our strategic plan moderator come up and discuss the ins and outs of how we will be moving forward with our CSIP new planning for the 24-25 school year during our winter retreat. I'm going to say to me, winter retreat, we should probably have that on the calendar, which yes, we should probably start to nail down a couple of times. So Susan will be sending out a few options that we can have, because I'm really looking forward to that retreat. We've got some great things for us to review and go over and have a learning time for us as well. So we will be sending out that winter retreat piece.
Thank you. Okay, next we have a finance update. Deb?
August, there wasn't really anything overly notable compared to last year. Very comparable, both on the revenue and expenditure side of things, other than the bond projects, which that's going to be different for the whole year. On that fund balance percentage, we're still in a very good position, 35% compared to 30% last year, and our cash and investments are 15.8 million. So feeling good about how the year is starting.
Yeah. Good fund balances.
We just had our audit this past week?
Yes, I should kind of just highlight that a little bit. Auditors were on site last week and, actually went very, very well. Probably the few points that they did bring up were on the purchasing side of things, and, we're already making a few changes to our procedures on that, and, I've sent that off to them, and she seems satisfied with what we'll be doing, so, I'd say probably for the next month, they'll be asking for additional information on and off for the next month, and then she'll, I don't know if Mandy will come or who will be, but they usually come and do a board presentation at a later date for us. So, yeah, well,
Good.
yeah.
Thank you for all your hard work. Any questions? 6E, Wildcat Academy renovation.
So, we had been asked to take a closer look at appropriate costs and all that it might take for us to turn our Wildcat Academy into a community outreach center, including our Bright Futures as well as parents as teachers. And so it was requested that we look at keeping our costs appropriate, making sure we can't redo the whole thing. However, it's a residential building, so it'll make a few different opportunities for us, and I'll have Dr. Parker share with that here in a little bit. That's what the sidewalk was. But one of the things that we tried to do was to make this a Harrisonville Harrisonville schools looking building, so that it really stood out and showed people, as we talked about, a community outreach. And so with that, we are very cognizant of funding in order to do that, making sure that we keep our costs low so that we can cover that. We will have to look a little bit closer at exactly how we will fund that. We looked at our costs and we feel confident that it can be done within the $50,000 range. And so, Dr. Parker, would you like to share a little bit about what you found out?
Yeah, basically I was fortunate enough to bring Justin with Paulson Miller out and Brandon with Newkirk Novak. Both of them did a relatively quick assessment on what our need level would be in that building, which was primarily cosmetic. Okay, however, neither of those companies, they are willing to help guide us. Neither of those companies are in the residential market. They're more commercial, things of that nature. Okay, so due to that, we have a couple options that we can look at internally. First off, they will assist us in identification of residential contractors and structural engineers, just to make sure that the sound of the second level of that building is solid. Okay. With that, we got a couple options. We can look at residential contractors, which might be the best route to go, or we can kind of contract it ourselves and be general contractors and use local subs to do that. But one of the areas we would want to do if we did identify a residential contractor is try to keep as many things local as possible. So all in all, we're looking at residential contractors as opposed to commercial contractors, which is what we've generally been in the market for.
Are there any questions or comments about rendering helps us? One of the things, and I'd like your feedback, and if you have any, whether it's tonight or later on, please let me know. But that was a house, and on that end there was a garage door, and so the stability of that wall is in need of going back to a garage door, which would be ideal for our Bright Futures. And so we wanted to make sure that our rendering showed that as well. But I continue, along with others, to be more and more excited about an opportunity for our district to utilize our our taxpayer funds appropriately and utilize the buildings that we have currently, instead of building new buildings, and being able to make a renovation effort to support our community outreach.
So it's just in the beginning process.
It really is, and this is just an informational time for us to, we're gonna have to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row and make sure that we have proper funding for this in order to be able to report that, to feel that we have that ability.
Once we have the funding, then it'll be put out for bid.
It will, and it depends on how we do, whether we have a general contractor or do that ourselves. And so we will get proper guidance from Brandon and Justin to make sure that we are tackling the right things.
This again is good visibility for those two programs.
It really does. Our PAT is such a special part. When we talk about getting our enrollment up, our PAT has to be strong, and it has to be going out and getting those families prepared to come to school. And they need a space to have a meeting space, office space, and playing spaces as well.
Very important.
Wasn't that our budget? We're still looking at that same budget, right?
We are.
If we invest that in this, we feel we're money ahead as opposed to tearing down and rebuilding.
Correct. And it was, Michael had a good question that time, was making sure that it wasn't going to be something that really put us out of budget. It wasn't something that we might get into and it'd be more. So that's why we did have Hollis and Miller and Ridgeville and Novak come out and make sure they did some tear away of some walls and a few other things, and feel very confident in our budget expectations.
Moving in the right direction. Any other questions? Thank you very much. We'll go to item F. Underwriting engagement agreement. This is an action item. I would accept the motion.
Move to approve the Sniper underwriting engagement agreement as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. I know, at this point, this is just a preliminary move to get information. It's not a contract per se. It's just so they can show us what they can do for us.
And remembering that Steeple was bought out, or Steeple bought out George K. Bond, which was our bonding tax support before we moved to LJR.
Are there any questions about this? If not, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Item H, bus driver pay. This is information.
I just want to share with you, at some point, and I do not have, something where it says we need to by next month do something, but I'd like to put it out there so that you have an idea that as we move through the earlier stages of our school year, many of the districts around us continue to have many different transportation problems. And we came out of our transportation during the hot times ahead of everybody else, and that's due to the hard work and effort of Echo Ride and Wanda at our bus barn, and making sure that we have a full load of bus drivers, which is not something that others around us can say. And so I'd like for us to consider what is the contract that we made with Echo Ride, looking at our hourly, and are there any adjustments that might be made to that. I'm not saying that we need to do that, but I do think it's for the discussion to decide if we need to or could do something to show our continued support for what we've done for us.
So at this point, That's a yearly thing, it's a yearly.
I think it's a 3-year, could be 5.
But don't we review it every year? Yeah.
So we've got time, and I just wanna put that out there that, it's probably worth us, just taking the time to have a discussion.
It would be nice to be in front of it as opposed to chasing people for acting something else.
Correct, and I think that that's where part of that comes in, and Dr. Parkhurst can review that. We're always hanging on the balance of, where our pay is and where others are, and is it pulling away? You know, we have that same, conversation we talked about teacher pay, that we are always trying to find the right balance, and I always want to make sure we're looking at the right balance.
How do we compare now to districts right around here?
Dr. Parkhurst, you might be able to say, but I know that some just to our north are 20 and up, and I think we're somewhere in the mid-$17. And again,
But our buses have air conditioning. I don't know that all the buses have air conditioning.
We know, a lot of them don't have air conditioning.
I'm just
because they all
saying.
had to go close the roof.
Yeah.
I will say, seeing Wanda or Dean especially, like, I just noticed I'm getting elementary kids, how efficient the homecoming arrival and dismissal was. They're worth $20 now. Wanda out there literally directing traffic. It looked professional. And I'm telling you, the way that they got the kids getting out was awesome.
I was
That's
out
worth
in the
$20.
country and
Air conditioning or not.
they pulled the bus, I was behind one today, and it was fine. They pulled the bus and they blocked the whole
Yeah,
street.
do
You can't go.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's
it's
good.
So out in the country, that's what they do, and
Yeah.
I'm like, man, they're safe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we do have very good drivers and it's a good process and, yeah, it's good to be forward thinking. So we will keep on that. Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay, we will move to item I, part-time clinical assistant request.
I move to approve the addition of a part-time PM clinical assistant as presented.
Motion and a second, discussion. Are there any questions for Dr. Hickman about this position? No? Okay.
Great job on the grants. That's all
Yeah.
I gotta say about that.
Yes.
Every time you come in to bring us something, I have to commend that. Find a
Give me
grant.
2 more days, I got another one coming.
Oh, hey, that's okay. That's all right. You too. I mean, you are consistent, and I thank you for that. So appreciate the hard work you do.
Yes.
This is about growth, so seeing this is about growth. Outreach.
You do, okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Item J, assessment and evaluation of district programs. You have facilities, buildings, and grounds. Dr. Parkhurst.
Yes, basically, I kind of outlined our objectives and our goals, what we use to evaluate the programs, and then things that we need to continue to do to achieve our goals. Do you have any questions about my evaluation?
Everything working like it's supposed to?
Yes, I
Apparently.
mean. Thank goodness, yeah, I mean,
Well,
we're trying to continuously find time to keep up with the demands.
but we're not super behind on work orders or anything like that.
We're catching up. We've done we've done over 200 work orders since July 1. And so that is up by 42 from the same time period last year. But we've had a higher degree of needs. So it's not always indicative of work being done. I mean, it is a reflection of stuff being done, but it's also, I mean, you can't control the uncontrollables, and so.
I would say, I think driving around looking at our facilities, I've noticed an improvement. I know a lot of it we've done asphalt, some concrete, but to me, a lot of they look, facilities look more sharp. But sometimes you pull in and pass, there'll be weeds and unknown areas are trimmed, and not that we need to have the best looking place, but our facilities, to me, look more sharp this year than they have for several years. And I know we've we've done a lot, but there's a lot of little attention to detail that's come into play.
Dr. Parker's could build a budget of things that need to be done that could far exceed any type of money that we have available. So as we continue to look at our bonding capacity and other things that can be done in a future possible bond issue, we'll need to always have that in play, especially when we have our facilities plan, long-range plan, which shows some of those as well. We'll always need to keep that in play, but we're keeping things going.
Dr. Parker's real quick. Mowing our facilities versus pulling weeds, cleaning beds, there's a difference within those scopes of work, is that correct?
Mowing and pulling weeds.
Like, if there's flower beds that need weed pulled, that's on APCO, is that, who takes care of pulling weeds?
I will speak to who has done it. Mike Johnson did it. He sprayed them and then would come back and would kind of fire blast them to make them go away. So since I've been here in July, Mike has done it.
Is that part of his scope of work?
My understanding is yes, that is part of the scope of work from what I have read. Now playgrounds, CCC area in the automotive, we've taken that kind of internal and APCO's done.
Okay.
So I'll be honest with you, I mean, when we got weeds, it needs to get done. And so we kind of focus on getting it done and who's available to get it done, and then kind of whose responsibility it is only when somebody won't do it.
I would like to, I don't know if this is on this, if it can be added on this or not, but I would like, as a board member as well as a parent, the lighting in the high school parking lot when we have large events and everybody is coming to the concerts and you park all the way back, there's no lighting. I mean, you see people walking with a flashlight on their phone trying not to fall. I'm wondering if that's something that maybe we can look at down the
Probably look at a
road,
long
because,
range plan.
yeah, because it's definitely a need.
That would be something that we would add to our facilities
Okay.
assessment through Austin.
Lighting in the parking lot at high school. I don't know, everybody else agrees with that?
Jenny, we will get, when we get that long-range plan, I'd like for you to keep that in the back of your
Sounds
mind. So
good.
as we review that as a board, we can make sure that we have that on there. It's a great suggestion.
This is specific for APCO. Will you use the same process, the same format as you look at other components of the district?
Yes.
Try to get a little bit more uniformity when it comes to these, so that you as board members have follow the same format that you can read, and you'll have the same information related to whatever program it is. Make it a little bit more specific so that you have that information.
That's great. Any more questions on this? Thank you for your report. Adjournment. I will take a motion.
Move to adjourn the regular meeting, time 7:47.
Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion passes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.